You never outgrow the limitations you set. You only set new ones within which you must live. We're a victim of our own constricting set of limits, but those limitations are invisible. I happen to believe that each individual watching right now is in a position where their belief ring gets molded into the second ring, the ring of responsibility. And they realize that we only have two choices in life: to accept the way things are and go ahead and be cool with it. It's okay. Okay for them to take charge, okay for them to tell us what to do. Or we can accept the responsibility for being part of the solution and part of the positive change. We ourselves can be a change agent instead of a change victim. We want to ride the front end of the wave of the future, not get caught in the whitewater and the backwater. And I believe, like you do, that my creation on the earth is a blessed creation for me. And I also realize that my own Creator has given me freedom of choice. I can choose to lead a good life. I can choose to lead a bad life. Role models I pick, environment I'm in, things that I read, people that I network with, thoughts that I have. In other words, I have right here the ability to choose to be part of the problem, go with the flow, or be a victor change agent. So I've decided to accept the responsibility to be part of the change. In order to do that, I need to step back a little bit and say, okay, where am I right now? And I happen to believe that we have two sets of things holding us back. We have physical limits, we have psychological limitations. Physical limits for me, let's see, 87 years old, mother had a predisposition to heart disease, and dad who had lung problems and this and that. So I kind of know what my limits are. My limits are my age, my education, my looks, my height, my weight, and everything that has happened to me physically. I'm limited by that. Will I be an astronaut? Not really. Will I be an Olympian? Maybe ping pong. Maybe not. Probably twiddlywink. Will I be president of the United States? No. But there are a lot of things I can do. So my limits that I have that are physical, I'll never test in 100 years. And I plan to live to be 100, which is only 13 more years from now. So since I plan to live to be 100, my physical limits don't matter. What I'm concerned about is my psychological limitation. You never outgrow the limitations you set. You only set new ones within which you must live. In other words, we're a victim of our own constricting set of limits. But those limitations are invisible. There was no sound barrier. Chuck Yeager flew right through it. We thought it would shake apart. We thought there was this 4-minute mile barrier, but Roger Bannister ran right through it. And the minute someone goes through an invisible barrier, everybody else can run through it too. But the invisible barrier is so real to us that we all believe we have limitations on income, limitations on education, limitations on what we can do. And I plead with you, get rid of your limitations. The sky's not even a limitation. Somebody's ceiling is somebody's floor. And so get rid of the psychological limitations and set yourself free by taking personal responsibility to choose to grow out of your comfort zone. And the reason I talk about comfort zone is that your brain is very much like a comfort zone. You have a thermostat in your brain, but most people don't think so. Most people are thermometers. So I want to use the analogy, I've been using this for the last 50 years. I want you to picture a big thermometer outside on a bank building. And you're driving by the thermometer and it says for us 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. And you look at the temperature and say, wow, good temperature outside. On a cold day, you say, whoo, cold outside. And we begin to look at the externals, the temperature, the thermometer, the outside world. In other words, we take our cue from what's happening outside. The government, the economy, the weather. We always check the weather to see whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. But the weather has nothing to do with whether it's going to be a good or a bad day. You choose to make the weather be your weather or not, it's going to be good. So about 90% of the people on the earth have to live like a thermometer. They live through floods, they live through hurricanes, they live through earthquakes, they live through pestilence. They have no water, they have no place to grow food. Just getting something to eat is what they do. And therefore, they're totally involved with the external world that is the jungle to them. And they're dealing with the external element every day of their lives. And they think that that's what's holding them back, and it is. But you and I, in every free society, are thermostats. What you get is what you set. And you set your own self-image by taking the thermostat inside your brain and set it a little higher. And whenever you set your self-image at a higher level, it raises your motivation and also gives you the chemistry. Because whenever you begin to believe that there's something better that you have, your chemistry begins to give you the harbingers of activity, energy, optimism. And you begin to get excited about what you're doing, so you raise your thermostat. So in every room of your brain, there's a little thermostat. And I like to call it, well, I call it RU Me Too, R2D2. But it's a little robot. I have a little robot that goes around with me. I tell it what I'm thinking. I tell it what I see. I tell my little robot all my hopes and fears. He listens, remembers everything he hears. At first, my little robot followed my command, but after years of training, he's gotten out of hand. He doesn't care what's right or wrong or what is false or true. No matter what I try now, he tells me what to do. This little robot is sitting down at the base of your brain, and it's called your reticular activating system. And it's about the size of a quarter of an apple, and it looks beautiful, like the chambered nautilus. It's a beautiful piece of equipment inside it at the base of your brain. And what it does, it monitors every incoming stimuli, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, everything you hear, everything you see. It monitors all incoming stimuli to your brain. And when something is dangerous to you, it remembers that. When something makes you frightened, it remembers that. When something is positive for you, it remembers that. And it always is looking for what's important to you. The reticular activating system is the guardian of your mind. And it guards what you let in, and it guards what becomes important to you. You know what's so important? Is to put in there what you're looking for. Put in there what you want. Put in there and tell him and tell her over and over again, this is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is where I need. Don't you see? And pretty soon little RU Me Too will say, I get it, I get it, I got it. You told me enough times. You've given me enough repetition. I remember now, and I'll always look for now your currently dominant thought. I'll look for it with you. So you actually do have a monitor inside of your own brain that only lets in what's important to you. If you're in New York and you live there for a couple of months, you won't like the fire engines and you won't like all the noise. You won't like all the street noise in New York. You'll have trouble sleeping. But little RU Me Too, your little robot, your little droid, your little reticular will pretty soon block out the noise of the fire engines, of the trucks, of the sirens, of the horns. And you'll be able to sleep like a peaceful baby in New York until you go to Colorado, and the crickets will keep you awake. because you're not used to the crickets, you're used to the other sounds. But after a few months or weeks, the crickets will disappear. You'll sleep like a peaceful baby in Colorado. Whatever is important to you, the reticular will make it happen for you by looking for what's important to keep you safe, to keep you alive, keep your heart rate going, keep things going for you, but will also be on the lookout for the new financial opportunity, the new creative opportunity, the new solution to the problem. So that's why it's so important for you to make sure that you know that you're in charge of what you're thinking about and what you let into your life. And after a while, it becomes almost automatic. I always look for what's right. I always look for what's good. I always look for what's beautiful. I always listen to what sounds beautiful. And I'm constantly looking and wanting more of that. And you will too when you get to be older, when your time diminishes. And every moment is so important to you, you'll live in the moment, but not for the moment.